Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. This case is crazy. I had to stop myself from watching ahead all day. So I watched other videos instead, but I can't wait to get back to it. So let's go. Let's just go.
Course of your marriage to Michael.
Not that I can recall.
You have previously been diagnosed with a condition called uh, PMDD. About postpartum depression. You've been diagnosed with depression.
No.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental condition?
No.
Besides the therapist, Ms. Caldwell, have you seen any other professionals for mental health treatment?
No. No. We did see other counselors for counseling but as a marital unit.
So, Mason was born in June of 2011, and you were teaching school by August of 2012, correct?
Yes.
And after then, you testified you were principally in charge of caring for Mason. Was it in fact daycare that was principally in charge of?
After I went back to work?
Yes.
Well, I don't believe that the daycare raises my children. I mean, when I come home, I feed them, bathe them, clothe them, read to them. So, I mean, during the day while I worked, yes, they were at daycare. Mason was at daycare.
And when their dad came home from work, he would care for them as well.
No.
Now, you testified concerning this prolapsed rectum that your daughter recently was diagnosed with.
Yes.
And you kind of laughed when you testified about Michael asking you if she had a male babysitter.
I don't think that's funny at all, actually. So if I
Well-
laughed, it's probably because I'm nervous. But no, I do
Isn't
not.
it a legitimate question that a male could cause that type of damage if he was?
I am disgusted that someone would ever suggest that someone did that to my child and that I would leave somebody in the care to hurt my child that way. So yes, I am offended by that comment. And I'm sorry, but when I map out a whole bunch of stuff, this is what she needs for her care, this is what we're doing, and the first response to that is, did a male watch your child? Like, not like, how is she
to the
or what
fact
is she
that
going
that
to
could
do?
happen?
Oh no, I'm aware that that happens, but I would never leave anyone in the care that would ever hurt my children.
And how?
Which is why I'm here today. It's exactly why I'm here today.
Thank you. You've answered my question. Do you smoke?
No,
You used to smoke, correct?
I did used to smoke.
When did you stop smoking?
I stopped smoking when Michael had a problem with it,
When was that?
before we were married.
In February of 2016, you asked Michael to reconcile.
I'm sorry?
In February of 2016, you asked Michael to reconcile.
No, I have not asked Michael to reconcile.
Do you have any type of criminal record? Do you have any plans to relocate in the future?
No?
Now, the fistula that you and Michael disagreed about is concerning treatment, as you testified to. In fact, Michael had that as well when he was a baby, correct?
That's what his mom said.
And he didn't have surgery for it, did he?
I have no idea.
And what the doctors told you to do is to monitor it and
Your Honor, as to what the doctors told her.
Hearsay. Next question.
Every once in a while, this man has not shut his mouth the entire time. He continually talks. It's crazy.
The doctors didn't immediately recommend surgery, did they?
No, they asked us to do a more conservative approach, which would be the oral antibiotic and the shock first, which is what we tried first.
And you testified that Malia had a musculum, I think you called it?
Oh, yeah.
Musculum. And you were treating that with some type of seed oil?
A tea tree oil, yes. That's what was suggested by my pediatrician.
The incident that you testified to where Mason had a cut on his head, the cut was not as you described in your direct testimony, but was noted by the doctors to be a small laceration. Isn't that true?
It needed a staple. It had to be closed.
It was noted in
to
the
me, as a
medical records as a small laceration, wasn't it? You look at Bates stamp page, I believe it's 60.
which binder?
That would be your binder. It might be black if it's like mine. And they describe
Sorry, I didn't hear the tab.
page Bates stamp 60. The tab would be B.
Stressing me out
It
too.
indicates that the laceration was small. You see that under additional HPI notes.
Well, it doesn't indicate the laceration was small. It says patient's mom reports the laceration as small.
And they noted that Mason denied any loss of consciousness or nausea, anything like that, correct?
Correct.
And in your previous filings with this court, you've indicated that as a result of that, he had stitches, correct?
I'm not sure. I know that I don't know. I'm not sure. I know when we were at the hospital, he had a staple.
Okay, one staple.
A staple, yes.
Oh, now I want a banana. Anna.
Now, some of these incidents where you say Michael was physically abusive, you've actually been physically abusive towards him. You pointed a gun at him, haven't you?
No.
You have struck him with punches.
I've defended myself.
Well, how did you defend yourself?
in the times where he was on top of me, I would push, hit, kick, whatever I needed to do to get out from underneath him or away from him. I would do whatever it took to try to get away and to get out of that house.
And you also previously testified he's never hit you.
He never hit me. No,
Yep.
I still agree with that. He choked me, pushed me, grabbed my wrist, screamed in my face, held me down, sat
Talked
on
about caring for the children, and you say you cook for them.
me. Yes.
Their father can cook for them too. Can you not?
I'm sure he can, but he didn't when we were married.
Well, you left these children to go off to Chicago. You expected they would be fed.
I also had a
No, if you can answer my question, you expected they would be fed.
yes,
McDonald's.
but I pre-made meals for them, so I made the
So
meals.
this could they answer my
So, on cross-examination, he's going to ask you a lot of really pointed questions, and a lot of the answers are going to be yes or no. Your attorney's going to, in about 2 minutes, have the opportunity to ask you some questions that might clarify those points.
Okay, sure.
And did you attend college during the course of the marriage after you had children?
I did take a few classes. Yes.
You took them at night,
Yes.
and their father would care for them while you were at night school. Isn't that true?
Not always.
At least sometimes, correct?
Sometimes, yes, sometimes.
And during what period of time was that?
When I was pregnant with Malia, I took the class.
We all stumbled in here.
Malia
I
had the
came.
incident straining on the toilet and suffered the injury that she did. Did you notify Michael?
I did by talking parents.
And you had some medical records where you took her to urgent care in Oceanside. Did you notify Michael that you were taking the children out of state? And I assume that you would want this court to order that you be notified if their father ever takes them out of state. Correct?
Yes, yes.
That is an important point for a parent to know where their children are. Would you not agree?
Yes.
Now, you testified that you were subjected to psychological abuse, I believe the term used during the course of the marriage. You're not a psychiatrist or psychologist, correct?
Correct.
And when you use that term psychological abuse, how are you defining it?
As in, like, what happened, or?
Do you even know what it means?
I do. I mean, I'm just saying.
What do you think it means? And when you use it in the relationship to how you're testifying today, what do you mean by that term?
Power, control, loss of myself, inability to make decisions on my own without approval, rules, laws that I had to live by without consequence, just things that were said to me that were traumatizing, things that were done to me that were traumatizing.
You mentioned the rituals. You said turn off the lights. It's kind of a waste of your money if you have lights on that you don't need, correct?
Yes.
And if a parent or husband felt that deodorants or candles or whatever might be being used in the household were harmful, you would expect that person to do something about it and try to keep them from being used, wouldn't you?
You rock. Rock, rock, rock.
Am I allowed to explain, or?
No, I'm just asking you yes or no.
I'm sorry, can you ask me again? I'm sorry.
If a parent or a husband felt that products that were being used in the household could be harmful to their children or to their spouse, you would expect them to say something about it and not want them to be used.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, as far as the finding pictures in your car this week, you have no personal knowledge of how those pictures got there. You can only speculate.
Correct.
And what time did you discover? I think you said in the morning. What
Yeah,
time?
it was around 9 a.m. when I discovered them.
When had you last been in your car previous
I
to?
parked it about 8 p.m. the night before
Where did you park it?
in my condo parking lot.
Is that a secured condominium?
It's gate secured, yes.
And this car, which car was it?
The SUV that is in both of our.
And does that have multiple seats in it?
Yes.
Seats that fold down, fold up?
Yes.
And there's a third row in it that's never used?
Correct.
You testified that Michael would gamble and at times would disappear for stretches.
Yes.
You've never set forth that allegation in any of your prior papers filed with this court, have you?
I don't believe so.
Ha! Joke's on you. It's really me talking, but making you think it's him. I'm the best ventriloquist.
Mentioned that Michael showed up at your gym. That's the YMCA.
Yes.
It's also Michael's gym, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Michael's never used the YMCA to your knowledge?
When we separated, we decided that that would be my gym and that he would do another gym. So they took his, we took his name off the account, and he, as far as I'm aware, went to LVAC.
You don't know what he did after.
No, I just know that we agreed, and I took him off the account, and that the day that he came in, he snuck in without scanning his card.
Again, I didn't ask you that. And do you have personal knowledge? Did you see him do that?
Yes.
Do you have any persons that you associate with that are around the children?
Yes.
Who would that be?
Friends or family?
Do you have a friend named Jordan? Did you previously have a friend named Jordan?
For a very brief time, yes.
And Jordan was around your children?
No, never.
Is there any reason Jordan wasn't around your children?
I have a boundary that no one will meet my children until no males need to be around my children besides family. It's a boundary for me.
You were dating Jordan? Did Jordan use drugs to your knowledge?
No.
Is he bipolar?
Yes, Jordan was bipolar.
He said that when you found the Valentine's Day card in your car, there was a TPO in effect. That's not true, is it?
I believe the TPO ran out on the 27th of February, and the gifts were in my car the Friday before Valentine's Day, which would have made it.
Didn't the TPO expire in December,
No,
actually?
I think it was July to February, or August to February. It was 6 months. So July, August.
You're not sure here on the stand whether the TPO was in place or not, are you?
I'm almost certain it was in place.
Almost certain. And we don't have any documentation. You've got exhibits here. Is the TPO that was in force and effect among your exhibits?
Well, Council T15-165523T was extended. It was issued on August 17th, 2015, and it expired February 17th, 2016.
Yeah. Now, at some point during the marriage, you and Michael purchased a home, correct? And you agreed to purchase that home? And are you telling this court that you agreed to purchase a home in an area you thought was bad?
It's gotten much worse over the years, so
When did you purchase the home?
4 or 5 years ago.
Just 4 or 5 years, it's gotten much worse.
Yes.
Talk about helicopters being overhead. That is near the North Las Vegas airport, is it not?
No.
Kind of, but all right. Court knows where it is.
All right, thank you. You've always insisted on having primary custody of the children, isn't that true?
Yes.
And you've denied Michael access to the children.
Only when it's been ordered.
Well, after a hearing in December where the court expanded the time for Michael to see the children, out there in the hallway, you told him he wasn't going to see the children for the holidays, didn't you? Are you aware that you've acknowledged that in prior pleadings? So at no time outside the courtroom after a hearing did you ever say that Michael could not see the children?
I do not recall. I don't remember saying that.
You have denied Michael trips to the Duck Creek with his family, correct?
Well, the court for sure did that this year, so I'll take all full blame for
This
that.
year.
Next question.
About Did you tell Mason that Daddy's head doesn't work right?
No, Mason told that to me.
You've denied Michael the opportunity to see the children on his birthday. Is that true?
Not originally, no.
You had agreed that he could see the children for the birthday.
Yes, but then he threatened to keep them overnight, and that was not our custody agreement. So, and it was during my time, and so we were like, you know, these are the hours that we'll agree to, and he was supposed to return the kids by 8 p.m. and he said that he wanted to keep them overnight until the morning, which I wasn't comfortable with.
You've denied Michael the ability to see the children when he's denied your request for money. Isn't that correct? You testified that you feel like the children would be constantly in danger.
Yes.
When you saw the TPO, you didn't seek a TPO for the children, did you?
I did, yeah, both times. The second time they told me that since we already had,
I don't want to hear what they told you that. So you're claiming in your application for TPO you asked for protection for the children as well?
The first one, yes.
Was the TPO, to your knowledge, extended as to the children?
No, just mine.
She is. I believe everything she says.
And that first TPO you applied for when?
I don't remember the exact date. I believe it was in July.
There's 1 and 2. Oh, no, there's
It
not.
was July. Come on.
2014, maybe. The same
How many of you all still say July? No. No.
time that the
You've cut off the power twice to the Maynard address?
no. Well, when I moved out, I moved power to my house.
And you cut off power to the Maynard address?
Correct. Which is what we agreed on.
And it caused spoilage of food?
I'm not aware of what happened.
This fistula that Mason had, wasn't it in fact compared to a pimple?
No. It's a cyst.
You don't dispute that the children love their father, do you?
Oh no, I know they love him very much.
They deserve a relationship with their father.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
And you don't dispute that Michael loves his children, do
No,
you?
I know he loves them very much.
Does Mason presently have any male role model in his life?
Yes.
What would that be?
My stepdad and my brothers.
That's not the same thing as having a father, is it?
No, it's not.
So, when you say that you would want supervised visitation at this time, who would do the supervision?
I'm just learning about supervised visitation, so I know that there are programs or people that do that.
Okay, so you don't know at this point.
I don't have a place picked out, no.
You previously threatened to commit suicide, have you not?
No.
Never?
No.
Mr. McDonald's never abducted your children, has he?
No, but he's threatened to.
Bran, you turned out great.
And you've posted on social media matters concerning this case, have you not?
No. I don't believe so. I really have tried to keep it private.
Just my dating profile.
Well, didn't you post pictures of your children under the name Candace Rink?
Have I posted pictures of my children
Yes.
on my Facebook?
On any social media.
Yes.
And you posted a picture of
The Georgia judges
them
all
in
say
relation to your
July.
comments about your case. Isn't that true?
I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
You didn't post on social media about having a fuse in your car.
I don't recall.
Would you agree that's not a wise thing to do, to open up to the public about your children and their lives?
I feel like Facebook is a free place to post things that I like, and picture. I mean, I'm careful about what I post. I wouldn't.
Are you on any medications at the present time? Have you been on any medications during the course of the marriage? Has Michael been on any medications during the course of the marriage?
I'm not aware. It's been suggested, but I'm not aware if he took them or not.
Well, and you in fact made a prior representation suggesting to this court that he was not taking his medications, correct?
Yeah, it was suggested that he should take medication. Whether he did or not,
That he wasn't taking any medications for him not to take when you made that representation to the court. Isn't that
while
true?
we were married, he did not take medication. When we were separated, he was telling me that he was going to work a treatment plan and get on medication. I don't know if he did that or not.
But your representation to the court was misleading, was it not? Because he wasn't taking any medications when you made that representation.
I'm not really sure what exactly I said.
You're going to have to prove that. You have some anger issues as well, correct?
No.
You've expressed that during the course of the marriage by throwing things?
No.
You've damaged the house?
No.
Nice, Lori. Nice one.
Have you ever argued with Michael in front of the children?
We may have argued, yeah, in front of the kids.
And involved you yelling in front of the children?
If I ever yelled, it was only to get away from him. But it was never directed ever at my children, and I tried my best to keep them as far away as possible.
Would you agree that you and Michael are presently incompatible in marriage? You're
Yeah.
incompatible in marriage?
Yes,
You two have separated, so you no longer live together as man and wife?
Yes, correct.
There's no chance for reconciliation?
No, not at all.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Anything else briefly, counsel?
Yeah, just a couple things real quick, Your Honor. Do you have a social media account, Candace? Which accounts do you have?
Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat.
And what do you typically use those accounts for?
Instagram, I use to post pictures. Snapchat is just for filters. And then Facebook is just, things that I believe, things that I care about. Sometimes I post pictures of the kids, things I'm passionate about teaching, or things like that.
So your understanding that these sites are used to post things about family, about friends,
Yes.
about life experiences?
Yes.
You were asked a question about taking the children out of state. Do you recall that question?
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
When I took them out of state, I left after I received a call saying that Michael's attorney had
The question was when she left?
She said after. All right, so approximately when? We're looking for a month.
It would have been maybe the first week of July.
Okay.
Do you recall if there was a court order in
July.
place at that time?
Yes.
Was Michael's visitation suspended at that time?
Yes.
Were you awarded sole physical custody of the children?
Yes.
You've also talked about the structure and some things that you were precluded from doing when you were with Michael, whether it be turning off lights or doing anything that way. And you were asked a question if you believed it was proper for a parent to want to get harmful things out of the house. Do you believe that deodorant is harmful?
No.
Do you believe any of the fears that or harmful fears that Michael had were rational? Okay, you were also asked if you had ever pointed a gun at Michael. Do you recall that question? Have you ever pointed a gun at Michael?
No.
Have there ever been any issues where Michael has wanted you to hold a gun?
Yes.
Okay, and what happened in that situation?
I don't like guns and I don't want to be around them. And Michael's like, here, hold this gun. And it's like loaded. And I'm like, I don't want to hold the gun. I don't want to hold the gun. He's like, hold the gun. And I'm like, I don't want to hold it. He's like, I want to train you how to hold it. And so I took the gun and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. And he's like, why are you pointing it at me? And I'm like, I'm not. I don't even know what to do with this. I don't want them in the house. I don't want them around me. I didn't want to. I felt pressured into holding it. I was definitely not aiming it at him. I just held it because I didn't know what to do with it.
And you were also questioned about your trip to Chicago, which I believe was in July of last year,
2
years ago. What was the purpose of that trip to Chicago?
It was my best friend's wedding reception in Chicago.
Were you in any way in charge of the reception or helping out?
Yes,
What
I
was
was
your role?
the maid of honor.
You were also questioned about wrecking your car coming down Charleston Canyon, correct? Had you been drinking at all that night?
No,
Did you in fact slide off the road that night?
I did.
Okay. And what happened after you slid off the road?
The state trooper came and parked behind me and asked me if I knew how to drive in the snow, and I told him no.
Clearly, no.
So he explained that, like, when you're driving in the snow, you have to pump your brakes.
Okay, I don't want to hear the whole thing.
Okay.
Next.
So a state trooper showed up.
Yes.
Okay. Did the state trooper have somebody else drive your car?
No.
Okay. Did he allow you to continue driving your car?
Yes.
Was he at all concerned that you may have been drinking?
No.
And is that because you, in fact, had not been drinking?
Correct.
And you were questioned about a dating site post where it's posted that you're a social drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually type out social drinker?
It's a drop-down menu, I believe.
And what is your definition of what a social drinker would be?
I guess every now and then, I guess when you go out with a friend, you have a drink. That would be a social setting. I guess that would be social drink.
And is it your testimony that you don't even consider yourself a social drinker now?
Yeah, I rarely drink.
People are allowed to drink.
Do you recall when you separated from Michael?
Yes.
When was that?
May of 2014.
Is it? Are you sure it's 2014 or was it 2015?
It wasn't this May, it was the last May, so 2015. Sorry.
And then your question, I'll direct you to Exhibit H in plaintiff and defendant's binder. Questioned about several photos or Facebook posts. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And these posts are dated October of 2013,
Camera keeps
correct?
flipping around. Drive me crazy.
Yes.
In 2014.
Yes.
And so in August 9th, you're specifically questioned about a post from August 9th, 2014, which reads, "When a woman is loved, well, she blossoms."
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, and at that time, were you still together with Michael?
Yes.
And were you still at that time trying to save your marriage?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and you guys were going to counseling, correct?
Yes.
And so all of these posts was at a time you were going to counseling, but you were still trying to save your marriage, correct?
Yes.
And circumstances have changed since then, correct?
Yes.
You were also questioned about Malia and Mason receiving hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Yes.
Okay. Who took them to the doctor to receive treatment for that? Okay. Did Michael seek treatment at all? Did he provide medications at all? Who was primarily responsible for that? And do you believe that your kids are flourishing at the daycare?
Yes.
And you've testified that it's your belief and understanding that your kids love Michael, correct? And you believe there's no question that he loves his kids, correct? But do you believe that Michael is capable of being an adequate parent to your children?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel, anything else?
As far as, deodorants and waxes, did Michael tell you about reading studies that called into question some of their safety? Have you ever undertaken any type of research, looked at any studies as to whether those items might be dangerous? That's all I have here.
Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Counsel, who do you have next? And as an offer of proof, what are they going to testify to? We're getting late in the day. I'd like it not to be cumulative.
We'll call Dan Dixon as our next expert.
And who's that?
Dan is Candace's stepfather.
Okay.
He will testify as to recent conversations he's had with Michael in violation of court orders. He will also talk regarding lateness of drop-offs and pickups, and also regarding a tracking device that was placed in Candace's car that he assisted in removing.
All right. Go ahead and grab him. In the meantime, as to lateness, that's cumulative. I'm not going to allow him to testify as to that.
Okay.
As to the tracking device in the car, I'll allow him to testify to that. The court's heard brief testimony from him previously, but I want this record to be complete and counsel to have an opportunity to cross him as to that issue. What was the other issue you were going to tell me? Oh, communication with him in violation of my court order?
Yes.
All right. Counsel, that issue.
It's court required me.
He's calling him to testify.
Sorry, Judge, I couldn't hear that you were talking to me because some idiot keeps whispering in my freaking both of my ears at the same time.
As to defendant's communication with him in violation of this court's order. Do you have any objection to that?
I don't know that he can lay a foundation for the communication came from.
Well, it's going to get difficult evidentiary-wise, and I'm not sure.
I would object, Your Honor.
Okay, and raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Have a seat, sir. State your name for the record.
My name is Dan Dixon.
And tell me how you spell that.
Dixon.
Thank you. Counsel, go ahead.
Dan, could you tell me how you're related to Candace?
I'm her stepfather.
And how long have you been married to Candace's mother?
12 years, going on 13.
And have you been involved at all in this matter, in this divorce matter?
Yes.
How have you been involved?
I tried to mediate some type of a settlement with Mike and Candace and Mike's stepfather. We kind of sat down and was trying to work things out, and it just kept on falling apart. I was there when Candace was living at the house, and Mike had moved out to his father's house, and I would try to keep her safe. Mike would come over late at night and stuff and wouldn't leave. I could call Mike and ask him to leave. So from the very beginning, I've been involved in it.
And do you remember an incident where a tracking device was found in Candace's car?
Yes.
How do you remember that incident?
Shallant, my wife, and I were down in Phoenix. Candace had called us and said that their son had come home and said that he was watching Mike track her vehicle.
Objection, hearsay as to what the son said.
Okay.
So Candace and Shallant and I got on the computer trying to figure out what tracking device was and where it would be placed and everything else. And when I got home, we went over to her house, we looked at it, and we found it being plugged in underneath the driver's side where the steering column is, where they plug in for the smog test was plugged in there and then pushed up underneath the skirting.
Did you notice any kind of concealment on the tracking device?
The tracking device had a LED light that was taped over with black tape. It was tried to be concealed, but it looked like it was put in pretty fast. It was plugged in and it kind of pushed up and underneath it. It wasn't like a real clean job or anything, but yeah, other than the black tape over the light, yeah.
Do you recall when this was?
The exact date?
Approximate date?
We were down there for my son, so it probably was towards the end of May, right around May, towards the end of May.
Was it in a place where anybody just getting in and out of the car would have ever noticed it?
No, you have to get down on your knees and look underneath it in order to really notice it. I mean, you might be able, if you're standing back from an angle, you might be able to see like a little cable, but it wouldn't look like it was out of place at first.
Just look like regular wires down there?
Yeah.
Did you help Candace remove the tracking device?
No, I advised her not to remove it. I reached up underneath it to pull it out to kind of look at it and see what it was. We took pictures of it, put it back, and then I think she contacted you to find out what to do.
Bonjour.
Were you all present when Candace had her vehicle inspected the year before?
At the smog?
Yes.
No.
Were you aware if that device was in place when her smog was conducted?
I'm not aware if it would be in place, but I had searched the car prior to that point and looked underneath the dash and it was never there.
Is it something that would have had to been removed in order to get a smog completed?
Definitely.
Have you received any recent communication from Michael?
We received a text a couple weeks back, I guess it was, or a week ago. I don't remember what it said. I mean, there's been quite a few throughout this last year and stuff, so I mean, we typically try to forward them on to you and let you kind of hang on to them.
Have you received any phone calls from Michael in the last 2 weeks?
Yes, he tried to call my phone, and I didn't answer it.
Did he leave you a message?
I believe he did.
Do you remember what that message said?
Objection, best evidence would be the message.
You got the message still on your phone?
Right.
I would put it on a stray cat.
Looks like it was on 7/28.
Any objection to him just playing the message?
I would.
Your objection was best evidence. I'm giving you the best
I would,
evidence.
Your Honor, because we haven't been produced. It has been identified as it's an exhibit.
Oh, I'm going to allow it. Go ahead, play the message. You hold it up to that microphone right there.
Call back. You know how my kids are doing. I still have school supplies I need to figure out when you guys want to pick those up, and if I can see my kids this weekend. It's been over a freaking month, man. This can't be good for them. Please, if you have a freaking heart, please give me a call back. And just, I need to be able to see my own children, right? Please call me. Thanks. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, will you give me that again and press play so I can hear it? I'm getting old.
So am I. Can't hear it.
I wanna be Bobby's girl. I wanna
Dan, please give me a call back. I need to know how my kids are doing. I still have school supplies I need to figure out when you guys want to pick those up. If I can see my kids this weekend. It's been over a freaking month, man. This can't be good for them. Please, if you have a freaking heart, please give me a call back. I need to be able to see my own children, right? Please call me. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Other than the voicemail, are there any other communications that you've received from Michael?
Just text and voicemail, and I think that's it.
Overall, how has your life been during this divorce proceeding?
Jokes and relevance.
Counsel, how's that relevant?
Michael, is that you?
He's been involved in this case and had to deal with this for over a year now.
Right, which is all totally and absolutely unfortunate. However, it's not relevant to any best interest factor I have to find. Next question.
To, Michael's behavior and his.
You can ask him about Michael's behavior, sure.
Have you witnessed any erratic behavior by Michael recently?
I have through this whole thing. Yes, he doesn't listen. He brings the kids back sometimes as much as 2 hours late. he doesn't comply to anything. He changes the deal. Like if he says, "Oh, I want to take the kids out for 2 hours," and he'll call right before that and say, "I'm thinking I want to keep them overnight." It's always sporadic. It's always trying to be controlling and trying to keep us at bay. It seems like he's difficult to deal with. He doesn't seem like he has any remorse when he brings the kids back. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go. After you've been sitting there for 2 hours, and each time we ask him, "Can you please bring time? Can you please be timely?" He still will not do it.
Have you noticed any change in Candace since she's been separated from Michael?
Yes, she's much more calmer, and she's much more happier, actually. I mean, she has a good life together. The kids are doing great. The chaos is kind of stopped, and since we got her out of the house and actually got him stopped constantly texting her and calling her, and so with that, she's been able to kind of be at ease a little bit, now. So it's changed a lot.
And how often do you see Mason and Malia?
2-3 times a week, probably.
Have you noticed any change in them over the last month?
A lot of change. They used to come back very tired and dirty and hungry, and it seemed like they were just like going all weekend long, to where their schedule was all messed up. Now she has them on a nice schedule to where they're very calm, they're listening, they're doing great.
Okay. And you were always the point of contact for visitation and drop-offs, pickups, correct?
Yes, unless we had to make other arrangements because we were out of town or something.
And this change you've noticed just in the last month or so, correct?
Yes.
When the children have been primarily in the care of Candace?
Yes.
I don't think I have any further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel?
Did you do anything in preparation to give your testimony here today?
No.
You didn't review any documents?
No.
You didn't speak with anyone? Didn't even speak with your stepdaughter's counsel?
Spoke with them earlier, yes. Yes,
That was in preparation for giving your testimony today, correct?
well, I wasn't like preparing to give my testimony or anything like that.
Well, and she is your stepdaughter.
I think of it, you saying, did I practice it with him? Is that what you're saying?
Did you discuss what you would testify to?
No.
And you would acknowledge that your biases lie in favor of Candace in this matter.
Of course, of course.
And from what you described, it sounds like you were present for every time Michael returned the children from a visit. Were you present?
Like I said, most times, unless we
No
were out of
rings.
town or couldn't make
No
it there,
rings.
had to make other arrangements.
So, and at some point, Candace was at the house on Maynard, living by herself?
Yes.
You said you had searched her car previously to the time that you found the tractor. When had you previously searched her car?
We did it a number of times. When she first left, she had a feeling that was being tracked, and we
My
thought.
question was, when had you last searched the car prior to finding the tractor?
Probably right around maybe October, November of 2015.
And that would be how many months before you found the tractor?
7 months, 6, 7 months.
And prior to those two occasions, you'd searched the vehicle how many other times?
Periodically, I mean, she would say this or whatever, and I would kind of look around like that, but not probably real extensive.
You never found anything during these numerous searches up until the last time? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Was there an order in place that prevented Michael from communicating with you?
An order in place to keep Michael from, like a protective order from
Any
me?
type of order that you're aware of?
Not that I know there's one with Candace, but I don't know if that included me. I don't believe it did.
And the phone message that we heard today was concerning school supplies, correct?
Yes.
And are you aware that Candace had talked to Michael about contacting you concerning school supplies?
Yes.
Do you recall an earlier conversation concerning tracking devices with Michael after the neighbor's SUV was stolen?
No.
Lori, I even sang. I sang to him when he came in. I did.
I'll pass the witness, John.
Counsel, briefly.
Sure, quick. Dan, are you aware that a fuse was tampered with in Candace's car?
Yes.
Did you inspect the car at all at that time?
No, I was trying to direct the person that was at her house what if the problem could possibly be. She was describing me that the car would not start, but would turn over. So I said, well, that's something that was a fuel situation. So the person that she had there, I guess, had some type of knowledge of vehicles too. So we started looking around for fuses and solenoids and stuff like that. He pulled one out and it had been black taped, so it wouldn't make a connection. Then he took the black tape off, or bought new. I'm not sure what he did. They're back in there in the
I'm
car.
going to object to this line. It's beyond the scope of the draft in the
I
car.
think it goes to the timeline of the search for the track hunt. Is that correct? Is that what you're getting at?
That's correct, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
You're also questioned about the voicemail that we played. It did mention school supplies, correct?
Yes.
Did it also ask you to contact Candace about Michael seeing the
I
children?
love Mark Anthony so
Must be getting old
much.
too, because I still
Oh
remember
man,
that.
yeah.
It did. The court heard it.
Okay.
And are you aware that that there was an order in place for Michael not to contact Candace?
Yes.
And it had already been addressed about Michael seeing the kids. Are you aware of that?
Yes. Over. Yep.
And were you aware at all that the neighbor's car was stolen?
I don't recall that at all. No.
And you never had any conversation with Michael about a tracking device in Candace's car?
Is that a no?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Anything else?
Nothing further.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Counsel, do you have another witness?
We have several, but I believe they'll be slightly commutative. I believe at this time, in the interest of time, we will call no further witnesses.
All right, I think that's the best decision. Counsel, call your first witness.
Yeah, may I have a moment to consult with my client.
Let's all take 2 minutes. Thank you.
2 minutes, thanks.
We're back on the record in the McDonald matter. We have the exhibits from the evidence vault. Let me put on the record that it came to my attention that since the last time we were here, and more specifically, I believe on Monday of this week, Mr. McDonald contacted my husband's office indicating that he was seeking counsel or representation in a matter. He indicated that he was somehow related to Judges Bonaventure and spoke with my husband. My husband asked him, my husband, who is Harry Marquis, who is a local attorney here in Las Vegas for quite some time, asked him which department the matter was in. Mr. McDonald, I understand, indicated that it was in this department. My husband said, well, the judge is my wife, Marquis, and I cannot appear in that department, and attempted to end the communication. Mr. McDonald requested a referral. My husband declined to give him a referral to another attorney, and the communication was ended at that point. I advise counsel at the bench. Counsel, you've had the opportunity to speak with your clients regarding that communication. I don't know the totality of that communication. I know that that was the sum of the communication. He certainly did not retain my husband. My husband hasn't represented him. My husband had no communication, nor do I know it a fact that he's related to the Judges Bonaventure. And my husband had no contact with Judges Bonaventure on this issue. Counsel, do you have any objection to me remaining on the case, or any record that you'd like to make?
We have no objection, Your Honor. It is concerning to us, just additional behavior by Mr. McDonald, but other than that, we don't have any objection to you remaining.
And you spoke with your client about that? Counsel.
Your Honor, I believe your husband was one of a number of attorneys that Mr. McDonald contacted in seeking advice or representation. From what he tells me, there's no intent to, no connection between your husband being related to you. I believe...
Well, there is a connection between my husband and me.
No,
We are related, yes.
In his mind, is what I'm indicating. I believe the court indicated on the bench, and probably can put on the record, you don't feel that this causes any conflict in your mind where you couldn't be fair to the parties from this point forward. If the court has any concerns in that regard, then we would obviously
Certainly,
be
I don't.
concerned with that. But
I don't think this represents an actual conflict. My husband didn't represent him in any capacity. Has never represented him in any capacity. This doesn't change my ability to remain fair and impartial in this case. I thought, out of an abundance of caution in this matter, that all attempted contact and inappropriate behavior between litigants in this case and this court must be put on the record.
Yeah, I think that's your obligation, and take no exception to the court doing that. Mr. McDonald advises that you may be involved in a case also involving his parents. He just was expressing concern whether that might somehow affect the court's ability to hear this case in part.
Mr. McDonald has stated previously in previous hearings that I have heard or am going to hear his parents divorce. As counsel knows, I handle thousands of cases. I don't know who that is. I assume their last name is McDonald, but that doesn't also ring a bell with me. So I don't know who that is or in what capacity I have ruled or am going to rule.
So,
But it's certainly not affecting this case. I would never allow, or never would happen that information from one case or the result or facts and circumstances of one case affects another case, especially when I have no idea who it is.
thank you.
Anything else, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
There you are.
Let's continue. Go ahead, counsel.
Do you have your evidence book before you on Ms. McDonald?
I do.
Counsel, it has come to my attention that the witnesses' evidence books were returned to you at the last hearing. I have the evidence copies, my copies. That's all that I have.
And I put our witness copy up there. I didn't see one for the plaintiff.
Is there a book up there? I don't see it.
So can I approach her and show her my book? These are the exhibits that you have submitted.
You know what, let me interrupt just briefly. Joe, they're utilizing our ante rooms today for the Ask a Lawyer. Why don't we tell them that today's not appropriate? And apologize. Thank you. Continue.
This is the exhibits that you submitted in advance to the court that might be offered on your behalf. Have you seen this before?
Yes, I have seen that.
And is there any exhibits in here with any documentation of your bank records and a deposit of cash taken from the safe?
Okay, I get it. The defense rested, and now he recalled her. I'm sorry. The husband, their side rested, and now her side rested. And now the husband is recalling her. How did you get that?
No.
Is there any documents that document you're notifying Mr. McDonald of any unreimbursed medical expenses for baby?
BB is medical.
BB is a bill. And does BB contain any documentation showing that you provided Mr. McDonald with any notice of this bill and requesting he contribute to it?
No.
And other than that, is there any documentation, any other unreimbursed medical expenses that you're seeking reimbursement for?
There are, yes, the medical insurance premiums that haven't been paid.
And is there a document in here that shows what you pay out of pocket for medical insurance premiums for your child?
Not in this book, but as far as I understand from my attorney, he provided it to Michael's last attorney.
We're talking about what's being provided for the court. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Did have our exhibit book up there. I don't know if it got moved. Okay, let's talk about the residence on 5813 Maynard. What year was that purchased?
It was 4 years ago, so 2012.
And I believe you testified the purchase price was $74,000.
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Not entirely sure. No.
And in fact, purchase price was $97,000, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't think it was 97,000. It wasn't that. I know it wasn't even close to 100,000
How do you know that?
because of the neighborhood that we live in.
So, I think your testimony before was that it only became a bad neighborhood after you moved in. Are you changing your
Correct,
testimony?
but I mean, the homes are older, and when we went to do our approval for our how much we could be approved for a loan, it wasn't over 80,000.
But bottom line is, you've offered a lot of numbers in your testimony here today that you're really not sure of. Isn't that true?
I know how much we owe in the house, and I know how much the
And that's not answering my question, ma'am.
So no, I don't agree with you, if that's what you're asking.
So you're absolutely sure of every number that you've given to the
Oh,
court?
I'm not. I'm absolutely sure of the medical bills and the unreimbursed medical for all the insurance. But as for some of the other ones that you've mentioned, like, I'm not exactly sure.
No, these are the other ones that you mentioned in your direct testimony that you're not sure of, correct?
I'm sorry. Can you ask me again?
Well, you said that I mentioned, but these are the
Oh,
numbers
yeah.
that you mentioned that you're not sure of.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm not. I'm sure of some of them. 100% sure of some of them because I know what I've paid. But as for
You understood that this was going to be your day in court to come in and prove your claims with concern to the property. You understood that, correct?
I'm still learning about the process, so
Did you understand it or did you not?
I didn't really understand it, honestly. Otherwise, I would have been absolutely more.
How was the house titled when you purchased it?
Michael McDonald and Candace McDonald.
And was any type of down payment put down?
We had a down payment assistance program of $15,000.
Any money out of your own pocket?
No.
In fact, didn't you and Michael put up $3,500 towards the down payment?
We did initially, but it was reimbursed to us after the closing because the down payment assistance covered that, so we got that back.
What's the monthly payment on the house?
It's $510.
And who's it financed with?
Wells Fargo.
And I think you testified that it's now worth $170,000.
Yes.
So it's your testimony that is appreciated significantly in value during the course of the time that you've owned it
Yes.
in this bad neighborhood, as you've described.
Yes.
What is the basis for your opinion as expressed here in court today that the home is worth $170,000?
I've had multiple realtors pull the comps in the neighborhood and look at what a similar house is selling for. We have a large lot and we have a pool as well as 4 bedrooms, which is uncommon for that neighborhood. So it's more property space and more land and a pool. So that's why they've said it's.
So you're just based on what other people have told you.
Yes.
And when did they tell you that?
I waved hi to
Oh,
you,
recently.
Donald. when you came in?
Within the
Be more
last
precise.
within the last month. Yeah.
The residence is in need of repairs, is it not?
I'm not aware. I haven't lived there for like a year and a half.
When's the last time you inspected the home to assess its condition?
When I left in May of 2015.
Are you aware that it needs repairs to the roof?
I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware that it needs repairs to the main sewer line? It is in need of landscaping as well, correct?
It definitely needs landscaping. That's for sure. It does need landscaping. Yes.
Divorce,
Has the house ever been formally appraised to your knowledge?
custody.
It not that
I don't know.
Well, it was
Someone
appraised
else
when we
will
got
answer.
it, but I don't think recently it's been appraised.
Would you be willing to accept your share of equity in the property in return for Michael being able to keep the house?
No, I would not.
This is a house that your children grew up in, correct?
Yes.
Why?
Because we have tried to make a settlement.
Don't tell me about the settlement negotiation. Why wouldn't you be willing, if you refinance it into his name solely, taking your name off the house, giving you a check for your 1/2 of the equity in the house?
Yeah, I mean, that would be fine. It's just, that was supposed to happen back in December, and you asked him to have the refinance done, and we've seen nothing since then. So that's why I don't even know if he can be refinanced. I don't know at all, like, if it's a possibility. So in that case, I mean, it would be easier for me if that happened, but just since that we have seen nothing since 6 months or 8 months, it makes me believe that he's unable to do that.
But you haven't been able to reach agreement on things such as the value of the house, the amount of equity. You Michael, don't even agree on how much is owed on it, do you?
I don't know what he believes, but I know that as for me, I'm willing to have someone come in and appraise it. I'm willing to, have him buy me out of my portion. I'm willing to do all of that if it's possible.
When you left the house in May of 2015, you took the possessions you wanted.
I did not. I left everything the way that it was so my children would be comfortable in that home.
Well, did you take any possessions?
I did take clothes and I did take shoes and a few memories, but other than that, I left that house perfectly so that when my children visited that home, they would not be afraid. And they would
And
feel comfortable.
you have filed in this action request to the court that you be awarded all of the furnishings in the residence. Isn't that true?
I'm not sure. I mean, like, honestly, if he wants to keep them, I'm willing to negotiate on that too. Like, I'm all for just ending this amicably, and if he wants to keep that stuff, I'm willing to walk away from those things if we can come up with agreements on other
So
things.
you're no longer asking that you be awarded all of the furnishings.
No, I don't need all of the furnishing. I would hope that my children would feel like in their own beds, in their own, But I mean, if there's equity in some of the things that we shared, I would like to split that.
As far as the 2011 Mazda, you said the purchase price, you gave your recollection as to what it was. Isn't in fact the purchase price was $25,000?
No, I don't believe so. I'm actually not really exactly aware.
Okay, so when you told us earlier that was $23,000, you really weren't aware at that point either, correct?
No, I mean, I know it's within 20, but probably between 21,000 and 20, maybe 23,000.
But when you were asked that by your counsel, you said 23,000. You didn't say, well, maybe 21,000 to 23,000. Do you recall that?
So I think I said 21,000, not 23.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not really aware. It's been a while since we got that far.
And
We owe on it because I've been making the payment.
who's the financer on the payment?
USAA Bank,
What's the monthly payment?
$351.
And how many miles does it have on it?
44,000.
And you said it was worth, I believe, 13,000. Was your testimony?
Yes.
Did I get that number right?
Yes.
And what is your basis for indicating that to be the value of the property?
The Kelly Blue Book value
When did you review that?
within the last month.
And as far as the 2000 Mercury Cougar, you said you paid 6,000 for that?
Yes.
You said it was a 2001 Mercury Cougar. In fact, it's a 2000 Mercury Cougar. Is that true?
I suppose that's possible.
Again, you're not sure?
I'm not 100% sure. No.
And this was purchased from Michael's brother?
I'm not sure where he purchased it.
In fact, the purchase price was 1,600, not 6,000. That's right. Is that vehicle financed?
No, it's paid off.
And as far as its present worth, you have no idea what that would be? You didn't check the blue book on that?
Like I said, I'm willing to let him keep his car and all of that. So
But you were asking for half the equity, so my question was, did you check the blue book?
I did not check the blue book.
As far as any pension or retirement, you're employed by the Clark County School District?
I am.
And don't you receive PERS benefits?
I'm not vested till I'm 5 years old.
So you do have a retirement that you're just not vested in yet.
From what my understanding of it is that we don't see anything until after that 5 years. So I don't really know, but I know that there's nothing there.
Do you contribute towards any type of retirement?
I do not.
And you say you know that there's nothing there. How do you know that?
Because I called Clark County School District to just verify. Because when my attorney asked me if I had anything like that, I checked. And they said not until after 5 years of teaching.
And how long have you been teaching?
This is going to be my 5th year.
So you'll vest next week when school starts?
I'm not aware. I need to find out the details.
As far as Michael's retirement, you said it's probably about 30,000. I think
Yes.
was what your testimony was.
Yes.
You're not sure.
I'm not exactly sure because I don't know what his retirement situation is.
That's why you said probably, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And
Mine's
in
a
fact,
2004.
Michael was contributing towards 401k even before you got married. Isn't that true?
Yes, he was.
And he had a Merrill Lynch account to which he had contributed funds prior to
Mine's
marriage.
also paid off.
I'm not sure about that.
So any funds that he may presently have in his retirement would not be all acquired during the course of the marriage.
I'm not sure.
My car started to do this interesting thing lately. Whenever I stop at a red light, I have to throw it in neutral. Because if I don't, if I leave it in drive, the whole thing shakes like actually like a very expensive massage chair.
And as far as payments for daycare facility, do you have any documentation or bills for any of the monies you're asking to be reimbursed for?
I've provided them to my attorney.
Has he provided them to the court?
I know he provided them to Michael's old attorney.
I can approach again, Your Honor. Show you your witness exhibit book again. Is there any documentation for monies you're claiming Michael owes you for childcare?
It checks out. Hi, Walter.
No?
He's crazy.
If you could look at the white exhibit book you have before you. And turn your attention to Exhibit C, which begins in page 38. You can review pages 38 through 45 and let me know after you've had an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, my God, 'cause he's Jewish. Oh, honey, I need so much more than that.
That is your financial declaration form filed back in September 25 of 2015, correct?
Oh, his lawyer. Yeah, tough affair.
Yes.
Oh, that other lawyer isn't
You
even
haven't
here.
updated that financial disclosure form since?
I have not.
Have there been any changes to your finances since then?
Well, as for bills or,
On anything?
well, yes, childcare has decreased, and we are now paying for safe keys, so that's changed. And then, the unreimbursed medical has changed.
Yeah, it was last case.
And then I'm now paying the car payment since January of this year, so I am paying for that now.
Now, if you would turn your attention to page 43, there at the top of the page is a section for listing of assets. You see that?
Yes.
And you listed various assets, a bed, couch, television, dining room.
Yes.
These are all in your possession, correct?
No. None of these are in my possession.
So you didn't indicate one way or the other, correct? And these are all the personal items that you could think to list at the
I
time that you
don't.
filled this out.
Yes, I just,
Take it. You answered my question. And I believe your testimony here today was there's over 11,000 in credit card debt.
yes,
Did I get that number right?
that's correct.
But if we look at page 6 here, the FDF, page stamp 43,
Yes.
you list $5,517.82 in credit card debt.
Yes, it's changed since I filed this.
Well, so you've incurred $6,000 or more in credit card debt since you and Michael separated?
Yes, I have.
And do we have any of those credit card bills?
I don't have them in here, if that's what you're asking.
No.
But
You don't have them in here, and you don't have them in the exhibit book that you submitted to the court, do you?
No, I guess I don't.
Do I need to show you the exhibit book? I can.
No, you don't.
And I believe you mentioned there was a wedding ring, which you testified here today is worth $4,000.
Yeah, I'm looking at this though, and it may be.
Okay, I know that he's crazy and blah, 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 but I honestly, the person who's annoying me the most so far is this lawyer. I can't stand this lawyer.
3,000. That's what I had estimates and listed everything out for that. So that was my mistake.
So when you told this court earlier today that there was a ring worth $4,000, that was incorrect as well.
Yes, the value is 3,000. That's what I wrote here. So.
Now, the wedding ring, where was it when you last saw it? You said
It was in a small drawer in my room. I had taken it off and left it there. And Michael told me he took it because he was mad at me.
when did he tell you that?
After his visitation with the kids. He said, "Ha ha, I have your wedding ring now. You're going to have to fight me for it."
Is that documented anywhere?
No, it was over the phone, so no.
When do you say that he told you that?
It was in May when I left him. We were switching off with visitation, and he would come to the house, and he went through my drawers and took the ring.
You didn't see him take the ring.
No, he told me he took it. I did not see him take it. No.
The ring was actually lost, wasn't it?
No, it was not lost. It was in Michael's possession.
You wouldn't take the ring with you when you left?
He had already taken it before I moved out of the house. I didn't move out of the house until July. We separated in May. He moved in with his dad. I moved into a condo in July. So I couldn't take it because he already had taken it in May.
Is there any outstanding tax debt of the marriage?
I'm sorry, any
It's
outstanding
$4,000.
tax debt?
IRS, taxes?
I'm not aware of any.
She doesn't want the ring. She wants equity for the ring. $4,000.
Your son has a history of playing with rings and...
No, he does not have a history of playing with rings. Expensive wedding rings.
Didn't Michael have a ring that was lost by Mason?
No, that did not happen.
You didn't go out and buy him another ring?
No, I did not.
Any other questions?
Lawyer, just leave. Let him do it. You're not doing it. Let him do it. Money is never worth peace of mind. Ever, 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 ever.
Wasn't it in fact true that the time you and Michael separated that the only debts you had was on the house and the vehicles?
No.
As I spend my whole life on court videos.
You had been on a budget. I think you testified previously that
Yes,
reduced
I was
your
on a
debt.
very, very strict budget.
Which reduced the
reduced
credit card debt you had
But we had
previously
credit card
incurred,
debt.
correct?
I was on a strict, extreme strict budget to where
Strict
I could not
budget.
use my bank card at all.
Strict budget reduced
Yes.
the credit card debt you had previously.
No, we had credit card debt and we were paying it down. Yes, that's true, but
Right.
we did have debt.
You brought credit card debt into the marriage.
I did bring credit card debt into the marriage.
Michael helped you pay that down.
He did help me pay it down. That's true. By restricting my life and my money.
Move to strike is non-responsive, Your Honor.
No restricting counsel. We've spent almost an hour and a half on this. These are
I'm-
very, very few assets and debts.
I have no further
Let's
questions.
move along. Counsel, anything further?
Just a couple real. I'll be quick, Your Honor. And so I'm going to show you two documents. They're included in plaintiff's exhibit binder, which would be exhibit 28. And they're base number PLA 00193 and PLA 00193. Have you ever seen those before?
His head is in the way.
What are those?
One is the urgent care bill from Malia when we were in California, and the other one is the $250 ER copay for Summerlin Hospital for Malia.
How much is the urgent care bill?
It was $120.
And is that the same number that you testified to?
Yes.
And how much is the bill for the emergency room?
$250.
Okay. And is that also the same number you testified to?
Yes.
And you were asked a question by opposing counsel on whether you would be willing to let Michael stay in the home.
Yes.
Do you have any reason to concern for Michael remaining in the home? What is that concern?
He's threatened to destroy the property on multiple occasions.
Do you remember when that was?
It was as recent as one of the talking parents message that happened last month.
And what was the reason he said he would destroy the home?
Because he wants me to end up with nothing.
And then you were also questioned about some of the debt that you incurred after leaving home. What was that debt incurred for?
It was mostly, I'm a teacher, I don't make very much money, and I've been solely responsible for paying rent and half of daycare costs, half of the medical expense, which is almost $500 a month, various ER visits for the kids, just life stuff, sometimes groceries or, whatever I need. But yeah, I did incur that debt.
Did you ever use that money to go on vacation?
No.
To party?
No.
You also had there was a discussion about when you lost your ring,
Yes.
and you testified that Michael took that ring and he told you he took that, correct?
Yes.
Is that the same time that Michael took your journals?
Yes. And it's also the same time that he pulled the fuse in my car. That's all in the same night.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel, anything else?
Briefly. In fact, you left your journals in the safe. You didn't take them, did you?
I was in a panic when I left. So yeah, I grabbed what I needed and I did leave my journals.
So you left your journals, but in answering your counsel's question, you left the impression with the court that he took them.
Well,
Not true, is it?
it's confusing, but when I moved out, or before I moved out, he took the entire safe. So they were still in my possession when I lived in the house from May to July. But then when I moved out of that house, he took the safe, which included my journals, and I did not have a key to that, so I couldn't access my journals.
Michael's not destroyed the house, has he?
I don't know. I have no idea if he has or not, but I have fear that he will.
Well, this fear didn't motivate you to check that out in any way, did it?
Oh, I've driven by the house one time just after he made that threat because I was afraid that he might do what he said he was going to do.
Driven by his house as late as 3 in the morning.
No, I've never driven by at 3 in the morning.
You didn't see any damage when you drove by the house?
Visibly from the outside, no.
Nothing from it.
Counsel, anything else?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Counsel, the next witness is Mr. McDonald, is that correct?
Defendant or plan for us, yes.
All right, sir, come to the witness stand and remain standing.
Let's go. Here we go. Oh, man. How long have I been on? Oh, we can get some of it today.
Please rise and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, you're not going to need your cell phone, so you can give that to Joe. He'll put it over there with your counsel. Go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Michael, we're here to address the property and debts that need to be decided. As far as the residence on Maynard, do you recall what the purchase price was?
Purchase price was $97,000, and we also had a first-time homebuyer program called the Wish program that we were the second recipients of, which was the amount of $15,000, which we used $5,000 of that for the down payment to help with the down payment, and then we paid put the rest towards principal. So there was no PMI on the mortgage as well.
Okay, and do you know how much is presently owed on the house?
I believe it's around 72 to 74,000.
What would you like to see be done with the house?
I'd like to refinance it and pay her equity, which I've offered multiple times. I also have refinance documents for multiple vendors, which I've provided to them, showing them that I can refinance the house and at a lower rate.
Who have you contacted about refinancing the house?
I've contacted Quicken Loans, Chase Bank, and I also have another one from Lending Tree.
Have you had any loans approved to refinance the house?
Yes, I have all the documentation and it was ready to go, but she would not agree.
I want to hear about settlement negotiations.
We had eight.
Don't tell us about anything that was discussed in settlement.
There was a $6,000 penalty for the house if we were to refinance before June 28th of this year. So I was, well, I guess that's an agreement, so you can't really explain it. But there was negotiations there that I guess fell through. Me and our attorneys sitting.
I want to hear about settlement negotiations. Counsel, ask another question.
Yeah, Michael, any of these questions I ask you, I'm not asking you to disclose or offer any evidence concerning settlement negotiations. That's not before the court. Do you have a commitment to refinance the house?
I have several documents saying that I could refinance it.
What lender is giving you a commitment?
Chase Bank, the Lending Tree, and Quicken Loans.
How quickly could that be done?
They said within 30 to 45 days. So,
What would you like to see done with the house?
I would like to keep the house and refinance it and pay her the equity. There's a lot of repairs that need to be done on the house, so it's it's not worth the amount of 170. I would say. I got a appraisal done on there, so.
When did you obtain an appraisal?
I think it was right before we went to trial on the 28th, like right before that.
What repairs need to be done on the house?
There's several repairs. Some of the stucco needs to be repaired. There's some holes and crumbling. Some of the foundations crumbling in some areas. The roof was leaking. I repaired it, but it needs to be repaired professionally. I also, when we were separated, there was an issue with the main sewer line, which we got an estimate, which I provided to the court, of the amount of $8,000 to repair the main sewage line. Is our neighbor's tree punctured through the really.
Has that repair been done?
I repaired some of it, but no, the full repair has not been done. There's still holes and cracks. It needs to be completely.
What is your opinion as to the value of the house?
I would say maybe 150 to 160 range. Possibly it's gone up because of the market, but I don't think it's worth that much.
Are there furnishings in the house?
Yes, there's furnishings. I was out of town up at Duck Creek, which I was trying to bring my son to last year. And while I was up there, her stepdad and other family moved out a bunch of different furnishings. My grandpa's mirror, some dressers, chairs, all kinds of different things. She took everything she wanted practically and moved out.
What's your proposal for the furnishings in the house?
She keeps everything that she has, and I keep everything I have. We've also had discussions about this and agreed.
I want to hear about settlement negotiations. Counsel, next question.
What do you presently hold as far as furnishings? I have some of the kids' stuff. She left me the beds. I believe she went out and bought new beds for them. So I have everything that they need. I have a lot of kids' clothing. She left our couch. We got like a couple $100 off of Craigslist. Nothing of real value. It's a, she did take the shark mop and some other.
What would you value the property that's remaining in the house?
Less than $2,000 maybe.
What would you value the property that she took already?
About that, maybe 1,000, something like that.
The 2011 Mazda, what would you like to see be done with that?
Well, originally, I wanted to keep the asset for the 2011 Mazda, as my car is older. It runs okay, but it's hard to get kids in and out of. So she wanted to get another car, and then I was going to pay her equity, but I think she wants to just sell it.
I don't want to hear about settlement negotiations, counsel. Ask another question.
The value of the vehicle, it's not good.
What do you believe the purchase price was?
It was $25,000. Her stepdad was actually present.
When was it purchased?
It was purchased 3 years ago. I don't know the exact date. It's summer, I think August of 2000.
What do you believe it's worth now?
I believe it's worth 16 to 18,000 from Kelly Blue Book values I've looked at. There is some damage to it, which she had when she went to Mount Charleston, was partying and almost ran off the road.
What?
So that's probably about 1,000, 2,000 in damages that would need to be subtracted.
What is your request of the court as to what it does with this vehicle?
I mean, she could keep the SUV for the value of whatever's in there, and we could subtract that from the equity that I owe her. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, but like I said, it is worth about 16,000 to 18,000 minus the repairs that need to be done to the vehicle.
What about the Mercury Cougar?
The Mercury Cougar is worth maybe $1,000. It's an old vehicle. It's got 100,000 something miles.
What year is it?
2000.
Is anything owed on it?
I
And
purchased it through my brother for $1,600
where's that vehicle now?
in the parking lot.
What do you propose the court do with that vehicle?
I'll just keep it. Yeah.
Do you have 30,000 in pension,
No,
retirement, 401k benefits?
nowhere close to that at all. I wish I did, but no, I have. I did have 2,000 with the city when I worked there, the city Las Vegas, which, and then I had a previous retirement, which was only a couple $1,000. I think it's like maybe 2,000, 4,000, which I stopped investing in when I was. I worked as a Dell Computers, a cable company, and I had this way prior for the marriage, and then I was probably less than $5,000 in both those retirement accounts.
How much has accrued during the course of the marriage?
Not very much. The market's been very volatile. So.
Do you know how much?
How much has been accrued?
During the
Maybe
course.
500 or less, maybe $200 to $500. So we actually didn't have retirement at all.
It's too big, Linus. It's too big.
Until we got out of debt, which was about a year ago, or two and a half years ago. We were debt free, and then we decided we made the mistake of getting a brand new vehicle and going back into debt.
Have you been provided any requests for payment of medical expenses as Candace testified earlier today?
No, I've not seen any medical documents whatsoever. I did the first time I saw them was in the exhibit for the pretrial memorandum. So I was unaware of any medical at all. She's not provided me. She keeps saying she wants me to pay for medical, and she also, I believe, goes to the doctor for every little reason, sniffle, and I don't believe it warrants that a lot of times.
Child care expenses? Have
I've been paying.
provided any expenses for child care?
No, and I've been paying. There was right when we separated, there was about maybe a couple weeks. I think it was in
Easy
August
boy.
that she put them in, and ever since we went to court on September last year, I was paying half the daycare. So there is nothing that I owe in child care. I have records and receipts for all of that as well on my phone, or I think I provided some in the court. So.
She says that you told her you took her wedding ring when you got mad at her. Did you do that?
I never said that. No, the wedding ring was lost. Like my son actually took my ring. He was playing with it, and I still have not been able to find it. She bought me another ring, which replaced mine, and it was more comfortable and everything. So
When did you learn that Candace had lost her wedding ring?
when she claimed that I stole it when I was away from when we were separated and I was away from the house. So
When was this?
July, August of last year.
She says that she took $2,000 of cash out of the safe. Do you dispute that claim?
Yes, there was $10,200 as we kept a ledger. Well, I did, and she knew about it. We also would have monthly budget meetings where we were saving up to do our yard. So last summer we had multiple estimates come out to do it. It was about $10,000. So we had it all saved up and ready to go, and then I got blindsided by the divorce, and she took out that money. So if you check the ledger, it's right there back from 2010, right before we got married. And it was on back of a letter she wrote me too, just as motivation of different things.
Can I have this marked, Your Honor, and approach the witness? Additional exhibit.
Yes.
It wasn't included. I'm going to object, Your Honor. It wasn't included in their binder. Previously, I've never seen this ledger before.
Was it produced in Discovery Council?
I do not know. Again, as Your Honor knows, we came in this kind of late. I've not seen it before today, so I haven't seen any.
Counsel, your representation is that it was not produced in Discovery?
It has not been produced in Discovery. I've never seen it.
I believe it's been in motions. Like, I don't know if that's discovered.
I'm talking to counsel right now.
Sorry.
Counsel, you may attempt to lay the appropriate foundation with this witness, but it has the handwriting, it appears, from two different people, which would make the foundation requiring the testimony of two witnesses. Her testimony that she gave is that she recognizes a portion of it, but not the whole. That makes it difficult for the court to admit it in its entirety. You could attempt to strike the portion of her handwriting and try to admit the rest of it. I will give it the weight or credibility I think is appropriate, and then I'll hear your objection, renewed objection
Appreciate
again.
that, Your Honor. I guess first step.
It's because when he lies, his pants catch on fire. That's why Micah said that.
Would be have it marked so we can reference it. Approach. Next in order. Mr. McDonald, I'm going to show you what's been marked as proposed exhibit. Oh, did you review that and identify it for the court?
So this is our deposit ledger that we would go and monthly or every couple months deposit money, sometimes together. Sometimes we count the money together and we put it in there and we write it down as a goal savings device. So we'd have it there and a record to keep track of how much money was in our safe at any given time.
And that consists of 2 pages. Are both pages the ledger?
This is the one page, and this is the back of the page. So I have the original. I don't know if I brought it today, but I have it in my safe still.
And were these entries made in the normal course as you were putting monies into the safe?
Every time we would deposit any cash, we would put the date and the amount on there. She would be with me, and we would count the money together, put it in there, and we were keeping track of it as to meet our goals. And some of the things on here, I'd write what the goals were, or what we did. We paid off this, we did that. There's different. We paid off Candace's city card here. We did. So, and then it says yay debt free. It was just a ledger or something to keep track of all the cash that was in.
Where was this ledger kept?
Inside of the safe with the money.
And do you recognize the handwriting on both pages?
Yes, most of this is my handwriting that I was writing up. I don't have the best handwriting, but and then the back, this was the most previous one, and I could see, or the most recent one, and it's back from even 2010 when we were first getting married, and so there's actually record from all that.
Is there any other handwriting on there besides yours?
There is Candace's. So the previous one was getting all tattered because we would write it out. So I put it on the back of a letter that she wrote me. So it was a letter, and this is the actual ledger that's in the safe, which I didn't even realize that it was on the back of it. So
Move for admission of Exhibit O, Your Honor.
Counsel, any objection?
Object based on.
If I ever marry again, no, we're going joint. I'm not separating finances. If they have if they're worried I'm going to take their money, or if I'm worried that he's going to take my money, then there's no reason for me to be married. No, we do everything together, a team. I can't do separate because I don't know. I don't know.
On the foundation, I don't know how he can testify to Candace's handwriting. It's never been presented before, Your Honor.
This is her,
I'm listening to objections right now.
Sorry.
It lacks foundation, Your Honor.
Counsel.
Well, I think he's identified what it is that sets the foundation. I could ask him if he recognizes his wife's handwriting.
Well, it seems as though the point is not the letter from the plaintiff, but the fact that it's some type of record keeping.
Right.
So I'm going to allow it, despite the fact that it wasn't produced appropriately in discovery. The Supreme Court prefers that we hear these matters on their merits, despite discovery abuses. I'm going to strike the portion of handwriting he cannot identify as his own, and give it the weight that's appropriate.
Thank you. So, after you look at your journal, are you able to tell how much money Candace removed from the safe?
Yes, I kept track of that. There's $10,200 in the safe that was taken from there.
What did you do once you discovered that money was missing?
Well, she brought it up. I didn't know. I only check it just to deposit, and that's the only time that I do that. I think it was in May 14th, I believe. I put it the exact date. Yeah, it was 5/14 of 15. She told me that she took the money and we had an argument about it, and
I haven't noticed control issues.
that she was going to divorce me and take the money, and she wanted more money. She tried to clear out the accounts as well, and it was just surprising. We talked. I ended up moving it into my stepdad's.
Is there any other property that the court needs to divide here today?
No, we just have the house, car, and the accounts that is in place. We actually went. I had to give her another $2,000 to get her name off of the account as well. So she wanted more money, which I provided her $2,000 more of that to equalize whatever the amount she thought. What was
When
fair.
did you do that?
That was when we separated. It was in July. I have bank records of this as well.
As far as debts, what debts have been incurred during the course of the marriage that need to be divided by the court?
We were debt free completely, except for the car and the house. That was the only two debts that we had before. There was no other debts. We stayed. We cut up all the credit cards, so we had no credit cards except for our one we would use for like online purchases is to be safe, but it had a $300 limit, which I still have, but I barely use. And then we just had our bank account, and that's it. We had a shared joint bank account. So she took the cash and opened up.
You've heard Candace's testimony today that there's over $11,000 in credit card debt. That surprise you?
Yes, that's very surprising. I thought we like I said, we got out of debt completely, so I don't know what she's purchased or doing. Back into debt.
You completed a financial disclosure form in this matter. It's Exhibit B in the booklet before you. Do you see that?
I think less and less women are getting remarried after a divorce. They're done after a divorce. I don't know. I think I saw trends on that. Scientific.
Okay.
If you could turn your attention to page 34. What did you represent to the court the debt was?
Page 4 or
34. The bait
Oh,
stamp
there we go.
page.
Okay, gotcha. So say that again.
What was your representation to the court through this document of the debt?
So there's just that Chase credit card, that one that we would pay. So sometimes there's like $100 limit. We'd buy groceries or things.
64% of men get remarried. 52% of women get remarried.
Get points even, or we just use it as an emergency or online purchases only. So. we didn't want it linked to our main account. So.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Counsel?
So half the women who get divorced are never going to get married again. Isn't that crazy? I bet they're happier for it.
Well, your counsel asked you if you were surprised by the $11,000 debt, and your answer was yes, you are surprised, right?
Yeah, we went through Financial Peace University program through Dave Ramsey and learned to not spend any money on debt or credit cards. So yeah, I'm surprised. She had a problem before the marriage, like $40,000 debt, which we paid off together, student loans, everything. So it's just kind of shocking to me that she
wasn't her debt into the marriage closer to $4,000?
There was no debt. There was
Prior to the marriage? Didn't you just testify?
Oh
that
no, she had almost. It was it 10,000 in student loans. She had a payment on a MacBook Pro that she has her possession. She's taken everything. That's hers. She had some Citi card bank that was probably 5,000 to 6,000. She had another credit card through HBC or something like that. So there was about, like I said, maybe 30,000, 40,000 in debt that we paid off together of her debt before the marriage.
Isn't it true that Candace had a scholarship for college?
No, she took out student loans for college, and I even have documents of helping pay off all those student loans through Wells Fargo and other.
Have you seen Candace buying any extravagant items or anything?
Yeah, she would go over the budget quite often. So yeah, she would go out and buy just shopping sprees all the time. You know, and she's an avid shopper, I would say. So.
What are some of the extravagant items that she purchased?
She would buy kitchen things, clothing, like shoes.
So necessary items?
No. She had like 50 pairs of shoes, and the closets were completely full of clothes. We had to have like yard sales because there's so many clothes that she'd buy. Purses and beauty products. There was probably about $5,000 or $10,000 in beauty products and things like that. I just makeups and Bed Bath and Beyond, Body Works, all kinds of things that we go through together every month and address and just make sure that we'd stay on track.
Is it true that you restricted Candace's ability to purchase items?
No, not at all. We went in agreement together, wrote out a contract. We'd sign it each month. We would actually do the envelope system for the first couple years where we delegate the money, go into envelopes, and then you spend whatever's on the envelope, and that's it. So that was good. That's how we paid off the debt. And then after we were out of debt, we both used our cards, which was probably a mistake we should have kept with the envelope system. So kept us on track and just accountable.
Have you provided any of those contracts in this litigation?
No, I haven't. But I could if you want. We'd sit down and go on the computer and go on the spreadsheet, and we also sign. That's actually one of the
Mine is yarn. Lots of yarn.
Go through it together.
And didn't you at one point report Candace's bank card stolen?
Bank card stolen? I don't recall that. She did have it hacked one time when she used, or twice when she used it on a Sonic and a was it one of the gas pumps? You know, there was a bunch of things where people were skimming cards. So,
were you primarily responsible for the finances?
We both were, but yeah, I was primarily responsible for it.
I knit, crochet. Yep, when I have time. I don't have time anymore, but yeah, a lot.
Do you find it odd that Candace would incur debt after leaving the marriage when, as you allege, she would have taken $10,000 from the safe?
Yes, I was pretty surprised that she had all this cash, so I don't know what she did with it. I know she probably deposited
Easy peasy.
some, but to
An
hear
hour.
that she would go back in debt after we struggled for so long to pay off all the debt, and we're so excited when we finally accomplished that goal. Yeah, it's pretty surprising. I really hope that she's pretty bad. Well, she has problems with finances, I guess. I don't know if that's good, but that we both overcame together. So Yeah, so it is kind of surprising because
And you testified that Candace did, when she was leaving the house, she did contact you and tell you she was taking some money out of the safe, correct?
No, she never told me until that night of the argument that we had, and she brings up the divorce and everything. So that
But she
was-
did tell you that she had taken $2,000 out of the safe, right?
Of course not. No, she didn't tell me. She said she took all the money out of the safe.
And that was $2,000, correct?
No, it was $10,200, which is in the ledger that we have here. So I don't know where that money is. I don't know. Hopefully she deposited it all. I don't know.
Is there any reason that you have not provided that ledger before today?
I believe I provided it in one of the motions that we had previously, so there should be a documentation on that, along with other exhibits that I don't think have been seen or brought up in court properly because of my attorney.
What motion do you believe that ledger was brought up in?
I don't know. There's a bunch of them that we filed. So
But you can't point to one specific.
are they in here? No, my exhibits wouldn't be in here for previous motions, right? Is that discovery? I don't even know if discovery's been done in this case. So.
And you mentioned you had an appraisal done on the house,
Yes.
and you believe that was just before one of our court appearances?
It was when we were in talks of refinancing the house, and we were trying to agree to either split the penalty or wait till after the expiration of the first-time home buyer penalty. So.
Have you provided any documentation of that appraisal?
I did supply some to my attorney that I think he sent over to you for like an RE, my real estate appraisal for it, and then I actually paid for an appraisal as well.
Do you have a receipt from that appraisal?
Yes, I do.
Is it? Have you supplied that to?
I think George, did he not supply that to you, like through email? I think it just should be record of that. I gave it to my previous attorney.
Have you provided any documents that are in your exhibit binder regarding any of the alleged repairs that need to be done to the home?
Yes, I don't know about this one, but with George, I supplied.
Do you have a copy of the binder in front of you?
I wasn't in talks or wasn't able to supply it, but yeah.
The one entitled defense binder, is that in front of you?
Is it? Okay. So yeah, there's a receipt for estimates for $8,000 for repair for the main sewer line.
Is that in that binder?
I'm not sure. I have it over there, possibly though. Can I, if it's necessary, I could show you it.
I just want to know what's in that binder.
Like I said, I wasn't the one that put this together, as we had very little time to prepare or even see my counsel because of what happened with my previous counsel.
So is your answer no? There is no documentation that you've
There's
provided
documentation
to the
in
court, that you've
my.
already provided to the court regarding any of these alleged repairs that need to be done to the home?
There is documentation
In your binder that have been presented to the court.
that I don't know because I don't know exactly what's in here, but I do have documentation of
And the appraisal that you did, is that included in the documentation that's been provided to the court?
that I am unaware of. I know I gave it to George. I don't know if they have seen the file or not for that.
Other than your ledger, do you have any other proof that Candace took $10,000 out of the safe? It's been presented to the court.
I could probably have my brother testify for knowing that we have always kept money in the safe, which I've showed him because he's given me deposits a long time when he was living with us when we were married. Other than that, there's just between me and her. It was a private thing.
So other than the ledger that was for the first time presented today, you have no other records to show that Candace took money out of the safe.
Well, I could show bank records possibly of
Hi,
withdrawals
Nancy's
or
mom.
things like that, but
I
no,
hope
I
you're
don't.
feeling
not
okay.
really.
Bank records included?
I provided them to George. I don't know if they're in here or not. I don't know if they're in here or not. Oh, it says right here Chase Bank records, but I don't believe it would go back from that far.
Was the money in the safe, or was it deposited into the bank account?
It was in the safe as we were saving it. It has more meaning when you have the actual cash and you're saving for a goal. So we were actually depositing the cash in there, and we could see it grow, and then we were ready to go and get our yard done. That was our big goal that we were going to do, our front backyard.
So the money was never deposited into the bank.
No, we had a separate savings account that was off of the checking that we'd sometimes put money towards, like an emergency fund or whatever that we had.
Do you have any record? You testified that Candace cleaned out the bank account.
Yeah, I
in
do have.
addition to taking the money. Do you have proof that Candace took any money out of the account when she separated in May of 2016? 2015?
Let me see if the records are here, but yeah, I do have bank record statements of that time, and then the $2,000 that I had. She would not agree to take her name off of it, so I had to give her an additional $2,000 to
Do you
give.
have any proof of that?
Yes, I have bank records or statements of that. I don't know if
It's
it's.
been produced to the court.
Let's see if that can. Or I could pull it up on my phone right now too. I mean,
It's true. It's true. Okay, we share tips at work. Everybody shares tips at work, all right? And often there's coins on the floor. I won't even put those, if it's a penny, I'll put it in my apron because we can't split that. But anything else that goes, because I feel so guilty if I take money. Yeah, I would never hide a purchase. Nope, I just would never hide a purchase if I'm sharing. Like right now, it's just me, so I can purchase anything I want. But when I was married or even dating, nope, I would never ever hide the way I spend money. No, I would feel so guilty.
and I also provided it to George. I don't see it in here, but I do. If you would like, I could probably. It's probably in one of the folders over there, or on my phone, which I could show the $2,000 that was taken out.
You mentioned that you had about $4,000 in a 401k account before the marriage. Is that accurate?
It was about that. I don't know. I actually had to take some out before. So it was around 4,000. I would say that was accumulated 4,000 or 5,000 before the marriage ever occurred, and then we did.
Who is that? What is that account with?
What was it through? Merrill Lynch, and I also have the city. But the other previous jobs I had did not have 401k. Strategic Telecom eliminated it right when I joined that company.
What is the retirement account you had with the city?
It's all I vested in it was $2,000. So total it's less than 4,000 to 6,000. I don't have anywhere near $30,000.
Didn't you testify when your attorney was asking you that it was only $200 to $500
For what, the city?
for the city account?
No, the city was 2,000. Yes.
And what account is that? Is that a PERS account or is
Same.
it a 401k account?
It was a 401k account. I don't think I was vested in PERS or whatever.
And do you know who that 401k account is through?
Was it Mass Mutual or something like that?
Did you ever make any withdrawals on your 401k account?
No, not besides that one before we were married. And that was in trying to get a house or something.
You also testified you believe that Candace's vehicle, the Mazda, is worth between $16,000 and $18,000.
Yes, I pulled up the blue book the other day. It's at least, at the very least, 16,500 from the records that I have in good condition. So it's probably even worth more than that. I'd say 16,000 to 18,000, minus the frontal damage repairs that need to be done.
We take the value down to between 14 to 16,000.
Probably 15. If you pull up I could pull up the blue book value right now, and it would say 16,500, 16,800, somewhere around there. And we owe about 5,000. We're attempting to pay off the vehicle.
So ask another question, please.
You also you talked about refinancing the home and that you have commitments from Chase and Lending Tree, and I believe you mentioned one other.
Yeah,
Do you actually have commitments from them, or have you simply requested information?
I have all the documents ready to go. I just have to sign it and submit it. That's it. And I've also provided that to you as well. I sent that via email, and I believe George probably sent that to you. So it's
So if you have a commitment, why have you not refinanced the home yet?
because we were in negotiation about what to do with the penalty for the first time home buyer, and Candace wanted the money immediately, and I made her aware of, hey, we have to pay $6,000. Can you please wait till June? And we were in agreement. We never made any statement saying you need to refinance the house right now. We were working on a settlement, which she would not agree to. We agreed to everything except for joint custody.
And are any of the
For the
documents?
fifth time
Sorry.
in the space of 1 hour, I do not want to hear any more about settlement negotiations. I'll strike that from the record. I'm not considering settlement negotiations. I cannot consider settlement negotiations. It is inappropriate and improper to continue for the fifth time in the space of 1 hour to bring up settlement negotiations.
Your Honor, may I-
Counsel, you may not. Counsel, continue.
With the refinance documents, have you provided any of those documents to the court? Are they in your exhibit binder?
I did supply them to Kurt and to George, and we sent them.
I'll have you look at the exhibit binder real quick. Do you see those documents in there at all?
I don't. Let's see them. I think I have some over there or in my car.
And so you have not actually signed any documents to refinance the home. Is that correct?
No, I have all the documents ready and to be signed to get the money out and a good rate. So. A lower rate, hopefully.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Just briefly, Your Honor. Michael, if you can look at Exhibit A, can you identify what that is? In your,
Chase bank statements,
these your Chase Bank statements?
correct?
Move for admission of Exhibit A, Your Honor.
Counsel, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Will be admitted. I
No.
don't have Exhibit A.
Don't have Chase Bank statements, Your Honor?
I have the ones that were admitted. Do you have? You do not have it.
Can we take them out of this book?
That's fine with me. Counsel's okay with that.
That's fine, Your Honor.
You want me to just take the.
We'll take care of it.
What's that?
I'm gonna keep going to the end of this video. I think it has like 13 more minutes because there's a big
I'll return to the
pop
clerk.
right here.
Thank you.
And this is
Thank you.
nothing further, Your Honor.
Counsel, anything else?
No questions, Your
Thank you,
Honor.
Mr. McDonald. You can have a seat. I'm going to ask counsel just briefly give me a quick closing about the numbers and specifics that you're asking for an asset and debt distribution. And also, then we'll move on. Then we'll take a quick break. I'll make my decision from the bench about those things, and then we'll move to show cause. All right? Counsel, go ahead.
Your Honor,
Oh, I got a ring for you, Linus.
both parties have basically came to the same conclusion of what the assets are. There is some discrepancy on what the ultimate value of some of them are, but even the testimony that was given today, the values are pretty close. We believe that there's about $100,000 equity in the home that would leave $50,000 to each. We believe that's reasonable. With the lack of any information on whether a refinance has actually been approved, whether the paperwork's been done, we've seen nothing. We've been dealing with this issue since December when we first asked the court to order the sale of the home. We believe that at this point that's the only way it's going to get done is by selling the home, and the parties can split the equity 50-50, which would be about $50,000 for each. With the Mazda CX-9, we believe that there's about $8,000 equity in that car, including what's remaining after paying the remaining that's owed. We believe there's about $8,000 equity. Candace is willing and ready to sell that car and split the equity as well, $40,000 a piece.
JK, thank you so much.
With regard to
Make it green.
to Michael's vehicle, Candace has no qualms about letting him just keep that car. We agree that the value is not very high and that it's probably not worth even fighting over. We believe that there are still some assets in the home. Even Mr. McDonald testified that there were some beds, some things left. All the assets that Candace now has in her home were items that were donated to her when she moved out. So we believe that she's entitled to $1,000 in the equity in the marital property that was left at the home. There was not $10,000 in a safe. Candace never took money. She took the $2,000 that she testified today. That's the only money that she took out of that safe. And then we're still a little uncertain on because Candace just does not have the documents to verify what the 401k values are. Candace would simply ask that she be awarded half of the 401k. There's also, based on plaintiff's financial disclosure, he began working. The court ordered him to pay the $200 statutory minimum for child support because he was unemployed. He became employed in January and has continued from January until today, paying only the statutory minimum. So we believe there's about $5,400 in arrears for the child support. There's the $460 in unreimbursed medical that we believe Mr. McDonald is liable for half, which would be $275 of that. And there's also the daycare expenses of $1,089 that would be for the months of August and September that he didn't pay his share, would equal that $1,189, and then also he owes $160.
I am not green. I am not a member. And I can buy myself a membership, which would be stupid because I'm just throwing money at YouTube. But I've never been gifted a membership to my own channel. I always watch and see if it's even possible. It'd be a waste.
$169 for the daycare expenses for this month.
Council, is that an outstanding balance to the daycare, or did mom pay his portion?
It's outstanding as of today. She paid her portion. His portion is outstanding. And then also, Ms. McDonald has been paying the insurance premiums from the onset of $440 a month for the two children. And we would just ask that Mr. McDonald be required to pay half of that expense as well. And I believe that's it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Council.
Yeah. I think the court could gather from the testimony that to a certain extent both sides were lacking in documentation. However, Michael's accounts of the numbers were much more reliable than was Candace. Candace, I think, led the court to believe certain numbers were hard and fixed until she's cross-examined when we found out that really her numbers were lacking in knowledge and documentation and support. A lot of these numbers that she threw out just weren't supported by our evidence and our lack of evidence, and in fact were put in further dispute when she acknowledged that she thrown out numbers that weren't incorrect. To give that were incorrect. To get to the actual assets, we do have marital residence. Mom claims that it's significantly appreciated value, even though she claims it's in a neighborhood that's deteriorating. Michael should be given the chance to refinance the house. They take exception with the fact he hasn't done it before, but again, they haven't come to a complete agreement on that, so he should have a reasonable time to refinance the house. She can receive her share of the equity. That would eliminate either party having to pay any early termination fee. From her share of the equity, we believe there should be certain offsets. So, you have two accounts as to how much money was in the safe and how much Candace took. I think Michael's account is more credible of the two. He did make an accounting through a ledger. And from what we've heard in the course of this trial, the parties had different financial philosophies, but they were putting away money to try to, and were successful in paying off her credit card debt and other debt brought into the marriage. And so if we look at which party's account of how much they put in the safe is the more credible, I think it's Michael's. And she did take $10,000 from the safe. She was motivated. She wanted to leave Michael. She wanted to start a new life, and she was going to take what she could to finance that. So the court should offset that sum against any share in the equity that she claims. There is the SUV, and I think testimony showed it's worth about $16,000. Owed there's about $10,000, so there's about $10,000 in equity that needs to be split and divided for.
Bill and Fozzie together. Look at that. Aww. What a great way to end.
He wants you to keep the vehicle, then his share of the equity should come up any claims he has to the house. If it's going to be sold and the proceeds split, then that could be done as well. As far as the Cougar,
Talk to Fozzie.
Again, 2000 Cougar, she said was purchased for $6,000. That's not credible. Gas said 16,000. 1,600. That's more credible. And as far as what should be done with it, it really has negligible value. Mom couldn't even express an opinion on that. So it's really minimal. It could be offset against the respective interests they have. Marital possessions, again, Mom's testimony on that was all over the board. She really didn't put up any numbers or evidence that the court could really make any type of award of that. Michael testified that the value of the possessions that remain are equal to the value of the possessions that she already took, and I think they offset. The 401k, they've asked for half the value of the 401k, although she acknowledges she doesn't know what it is. She also acknowledged that there was a amount in the retirement 401k that entered the marriage. It was his separate property, and she has no interest in that. Again, she's just failed to prove that. She's just failed to prove that amount. Child support, council made a request for certain monies for child support, and again, we haven't seen a schedule of arrears. The court needs to enforce the order as in place, but she also has a duty to document what she claims are arrears. She hasn't done that. She's thrown out numbers for unreimbursed medical expenses without any documentation whatsoever. She's failed to prove those claims in that regard. And maybe if she were reliable on her numbers, the court could say, well, I'll take her testimony at face value, but we've shown that her numbers aren't reliable.
Go make me my money, Bill.
So it's merely speculative on her part, saying that claim for unreimbursed daycare expenses. She claims that she pays $440 in health insurance for the children. Again, we don't have documentation of that. In fact, the evidence that we have when we look at her financial disclosure form, that she didn't even claim that she pays that much for insurance. Exhibit C, her claim of health insurance was $306. Now she's claiming $440 without any documentation whatsoever. She's not put the court in any position to make any apportionment of that. Even with those numbers, she doesn't show any breakdown between her and the children, and she's not met her burden of proof in that regard, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I'm going to ask the parties in counsel to exit the courtroom just for about 5-10 minutes so that I can prepare my order. I'll give you that order on the record. Then we'll come back and start the show cause hearing. I expect that the show cause hearing will move quickly. All right, thank you.
Darn, 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 darn. Work doesn't go this fast when I'm at work. This sucks, but I gotta stop now because it's been 2.5 hours. I got OJ queued up and ready to go. Thank you so much for coming out, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all again really, really soon. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Got these life echoes, digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Dreaming tales late into the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Her eyes hear a sky so blue. In her jokes, there's a truth so true. With extreme, she brings the light. Turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Screaming tales late into the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle, she lights the way. Kathy's